So I've seen questions from people who are sidestepping and they're just getting clipped by attacks, so I wanted to talk about it. I will say I'm mostly a 2D fighting game player, so if you have a more extensive Tekken background and you want to contribute to this conversation, I invite you to do so in the comments. For me, I think there are two categories of sidesteps. There's sidesteps from far away. If we look at this distance from opponent at the bottom, I'm talking about like from 3 and further, and sidesteps that are much closer up. Now, if you're up close with your opponent and they're mashing and they're doing a bunch of strings and you're attempting to randomly sidestep and hope that it'll whiff, you're doing it wrong. When I'm holding back, I'm blocking highs and mids. When I'm holding down back, I'm blocking lows and I'm evading highs. But when I'm sidestepping, I'm not blocking anything, which means that there's a risk involved with sidestepping. So if you're sidestepping, it can't be on a hope and a prayer. It has to be informed. And so I think given the level of player that I've designed this channel around, it's unlikely that the person watching this video knows enough about the strings coming out to recognize it and then sidestep to the correct direction in time. So what do I offer instead as a substitute? I think you should do moves that are a little bit minus and then sidestep. Because when you do something that's a little bit minus, you sort of encourage the opponent to attack you. So in this example, Kazuya is doing a jab. So if I were to do my fastest attack, you see it doesn't come out in time, right? He beats me every time. But I do still have 9 frames that I can do something with. And so with those 9 frames, I could sidestep out of the way. And so if I notice like, hey, every time I do down forward 1, my opponent's trying to jab and take their turn. You say the next time I do down forward 1, I'm gonna sidestep and launch him. So just like that. And the important thing is that you've already decided to do this before you do this down forward 1. So what you don't wanna do is sidestep and then try to react to the jab and then launch. What you want to do is say, okay, I think my opponent is going to jab me, and then just do this entire sequence. Whoop. Right? If they block it, it is what it is. If you get punished, that's data to use for the next time you do down forward 1. But if you're experiencing somebody trying to take their turn every time you do something that's even a little bit negative, then you should start implementing stuff like this. Now from a little bit further away, you can actually start to sidestep on feeling again. The reasoning is that from this distance, the tools that are going to reach the opponent are usually very linear moves. We're talking about like layout forward 2, we're talking about Fang forward 2, we're talking about Fang crouch dash 1, we're talking about Paul's big punch, you know the one, death fist, that's it. Anything that can reach that far is usually very linear and usually slower. So if you start to anticipate that your opponent wants to poke at you with a tool like that, you can just start sidestepping or sidewalking, right? But that's my advice. If you're up close with the opponent, you should be using sidesteps as a part of your offensive sequence. And if you are further away, then you can start using sidesteps defensively to try to defend yourself. If you're up close with the opponent and they're pressuring you, just focus on blocking. And if they're poking at you with low risk lows a bunch, low parrying. But if they're in your face and they're doing stuff, don't try to just sidestep randomly because it feels right. You're gonna end up getting clipped and then you're gonna lose a bunch of damage and you're gonna have to deal with the wake up situation. You just don't want it. Just don't deal with it. So I know this was a short video, but those are just the very brief thoughts that I have on this subject. Let me know if this helped you. If you want to learn a little bit more about how frame data works, I've got a video on screen for you now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.